So last section we'll learn about TCP/IP application layers. Sometimes one thing I need to worry about is what happens. You notice that some of this had one protocol on the client side and one had on the server side. Basically, this client-server model is where a device requesting an information called the client requests information from a server. Think of it as a restaurant. You walk in, you sit down, you're the client, and the server is the waiter or the waitress. So that's the model we're looking at. They just don't bring you food. You make a request. I want this as an appetizer, this is a salad, this is a soup, whatever the case may be. I want this for dessert and coffee. You make the request. Now, in times, what do? They say, hey, that's no longer available. So sometimes there is an interaction between the two, but the client is that hardware-software combination that people use to directly access resources that are stored on the server, or you're going to use your time and your money to see what food is available in the restaurant. So that kind of relationship. Now, client-server processors are definitely considered to be application layer. So just something to keep in mind. And like I said, you're asking to download a file. What do? Well, you make a request to download that file. It just doesn't automatically happen. You ask to get a picture downloaded, a movie downloaded, and it moves it to your device. Now, there is a different type of network. It's called a peer-to-peer network. Now, peer-to-peer network is basically, I want to get information from a device without using a server. And a peer-to-peer network kind of involves a couple of different parts. The network itself and the application. Both have similar features, but in practice they work quite differently. In a peer-to-peer network, two or more devices are connected via a network cable and can share information. I mean, the diagram here says I've got two computers that are connected. You don't see a server and you don't see a print server or anything else. So you just got a switch connecting a couple of PCs together. In one PC, the printer is connected. So if peer 1 wants to print, it actually sends the file to peer 2, and peer 2 then connects it to the printer. Now, what do you think happens when peer 2 is not online? You're right. You don't get access to the printer. So for peer-to-peer networks to work effectively, all devices need to be online and functioning to have this network work. For small offices, this is great. I would never want to have the college be set up as a peer-to-peer network. All it would take is one person decide to shut their computer down and the whole floor may not get access to a printer. Who knows? I don't highly recommend it if you more than got 4 or 5 people. More than that, it becomes pretty complicated. Now, there are some basic applications on peer-to-peer. Oh, guess what? Texting, peer-to-peer. So basically what am I doing? I'm using the network to send, I'm not connecting to anything other than the phone number of the machine that I want to talk to. And both people can transmit and send applications. Now, there are some common applications, common only from the standpoint, from an industry standpoint, but not common from a day-to-day user capability. And some of those are BitTorrent, Direct Connect, eatDonkey, and Freenet. So they're just get an idea. This is some action, but it's basically just a computer-to-computer connection allows you to share information, share music, share information point to point without a server in the mix. Now, remember, any type of file can be shared between users, but copyrights still need to be adhered to, or should be adhered to, because it is a violation of the law and could be unreliable. So, let me see, I'm going to go on to the next one, do web and email protocols. So, here you got the next set of applications is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol and markup language. Both of these are used to help set up websites and email. So when you get a web address, you get something that's called a URL, Uniform Resource Locator, URL. Basically, it's the name you type in, www.cisco.com. That gives you the server that is running this information. So if I'm looking at trying to, let me see if I can scroll up over here so you can see the whole thing. So if you want to get access to a web page, one, you got to remember that browser interprets three parts of the URL. One, that HTTP tells me which protocol it is, because you had choices of two, right? HTTP and HTTPS. Then you have the server name. What is the name of the server? In this case, it's Cisco.com. And then it's the specific file that you're asking for. In this case, they're asking for the index.html file. So when you look at your browser line and you're on a site, you'll see all of those being laid out in front of you. Now, Chrome right now, if I look up there, it kind of takes away the HTTP protocol scheme to reduce space, but you see the server the file is located on and the specific file that is being asked for. So what do? The first thing you do is you request a page. So you're saying, hey, I want to get connection to that server. So you type in the server name. Guess what? Somebody converts that to an IP address. And basically what you're doing is you're sending a GET request. You're asking to get me this file from the server, and then it asks for the index HTML. Once the server then says, hey, I want to send you the HTML code for that request to your server, so that you get an HTTP response. So you get an HTTP GET to make the request. You get an HTTP response that gives you the data that you're looking for. And then your last one is your client then displays that information, formats that information that's on your web page. So you get a GET to the server, a response from the server, and then the client ends up then processing that information and displays that information. So that's the basic sequence that's going on. Now, here you got a couple of different, when you look at HTTP and HTTPS, HTTPS is a request response protocol. It basically, you do a GET. You can post things, upload data, or you can put things, which then puts things back, So you only got those three choices. So it's an upload or this upload resources. Now, even though it's HTTP is flexible, but not very secure. So in that case, that's where HTTP secure, HTTPS is concerned. And what that uses is an authentication and encryption service to secure the data between the client and the server. So that way the data between the two, and that data stream between the two destinations is secure, it's encrypted, with a transport layer security protocol, or its predecessor, secure socket. Most of the stuff today is transport layer security, but just letting you know there are different types and based on which size. Then we look at the email protocols. Email protocols here, like I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of different ones out there. And really what you're looking at here is when you're looking at SMT, you got server-to-server information. When you got POP3, it gets downloaded and never gets back up. So it's a one-way download on that. So you just want to keep intact. So you get the simple mail transfer part of the post office protocol and the IMAP protocol. The application layer sends the mail using SMT. So all the sends between server are done with the simple mail transfer. Now the client side, it's either IMAP or POP, and it really boils down to what you want to do. If you want everything downloaded off the server using POP, if you want to keep it on the server using IMAP. So as you're transmitting email between servers, it's simple mail transfer protocol. Now luckily you probably don't see much of that, but when it comes to what do you see and how you interact with this mail service, whether it's totally downloaded, then that would be the post office protocol, POP, and like I said, the last one is POP3, or you get IMAP, and that go through now. Let's go through a little bit of detail on these. Now, the simple message formats require a message and a header. But basically, like I said, it's getting information between two destinations, but it's going between server as far as what the users are going to see. Now, keep in mind that process well-known port number is port 25. So you're sending stuff and somebody's not online, it gets stored in a server, and then at some point in time, that service is downloaded. Just point in time when you log in, and do POP3 is going to take off the server, download it to your PC, never uploading anything. So I'm sending information, downloading it to the client. So when I'm sending information, I'm sending to SMTP, and then POP3 or IMAP to download it. So I'll let you play with that, and I think I'm going to end this video, and we'll go on to the next session on IP addressing services.